What's up, everybody? Welcome to a very special kind of funny video. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the rogue one at Gary Whitta.
Hello, how are you, Greg?
I'm great, Gary. It's a very special moment for me. You don't have to ask
very
how I am.
special.
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm a little bit tired. You know, the talk show has been taking a lot out of me, but it's also been giving me a lot of joy. It's been fun, and I'm excited about that. But I got to tell you, I'm more excited about what we're here to talk about right now. This very special announcement.
And so that's the thing, everybody. You clicked on this video, you saw the headline, maybe you saw the tweet. Basically, Greg and Gary are making a comic. Gary Whitta, what does that mean?
Well, Greg, I know that comics are very special to you, and I think that's why this is a special announcement. They're special to me.
Sure.
But I know they're particularly special to you, and that's why this thing that we're about to announce brought both of us together. You know, we've been friends for a long time. We've been doing shows and videos for a long time, but we never really kind of creatively collaborated on something before. And an opportunity came my way, and I thought, you know what? This is the opportunity for me and Greg to finally put our heads together and really make something together in a way that I think both of us would find really satisfying. And it has been. It's been great.
Yeah. So what is it, Gary? I mean, what do you want to say? And first off, also, we collaborate every Whitta Wednesday. I don't know what you're talking about. But beyond that.
I said creative collaboration, Greg.
Not just yelling about video games. I got it. My apologies. So where do you want to start? Because for me, it starts at, what was it? It was, I think, our January 5th stream this year, where you walked in. It was our giant, we were doing our kind of funny anniversary. I was in between being on set and doing stuff, and you came in and were like, hey, I got approached about an opportunity, and I think you'd be perfect for
that's
it.
right. That's right. I came into the office. I think it was like right before we were going to go do a show together.
Yeah. It was one of our giant live streams.
And I had a little something for you. When was that? Back in January?
I think so, right? It was either that or it was Extra Life. So it was either January or November, but I want to say it was
right.
It all happened really fast.
It feels longer because, you know, the interesting thing is this project that we're about to announce, because the powers that be have finally allowed us to do so, should actually already have. It should be out. People should already have it in their hands.
We'll get to that.
But it's been, of course, been delayed somewhat due to global scenarios that have, you know, kind of messed up everything.
Of course.
But the good news is it is still happening. It was just delayed, and now we're finally ready to announce it. So here's the story. So way back when, not too long ago, when would it have been? Either late last year or early next. I got approached by an editor at DC Comics by the name of Ben Abernathy.
Yeah.
And Ben, I guess, had seen some of the other work that I had done in comics. You know, I have an original comic book series called Oliver, which is out right now. Image Comics are publishing that. By the way, go to Comixology right now. You can get the first issue of Oliver for free.
Wow.
And all the other issues for only 99 cents. That's something that Image is actually doing across their many comics as part of their kind of response to the coronavirus situation. Everyone's kind of stuck at home bored. They want something to do, something to read. And so Image Comics is making those comics available at a super low price. And,
all right, stop selling your stuff. Talk about our stuff.
Oliver's a good one to go check out. The whole thing, I'm selling my stuff. This is all selling my stuff, or I should say selling our stuff. So Ben Abernathy, who's a very talented editor at DC Comics, I guess I'd seen that or seen some other of my work, and came to me and said, Gary, we have a very special project coming up, and would you be interested in contributing to it? And I said, yes, very much so. Is this the point to say what it is? Should I do it now?
Okay. Your drum roll.
Okay. So, and when I announce what it is, you'll understand why Greg was so excited to be a part of it, and why I was so excited to have him be a part of it. So 2020, Greg, I didn't actually know this until Ben told me. I don't know, maybe you knew because you're a big DC Comics fan.
Right.
The year 2020 is in fact the 80th anniversary of the creation of the Joker, Batman's greatest nemesis.
That's right.
And Joker obviously is having a bit of a moment right now because he was just the subject of a very commercially successful feature film.
Sure.
And everyone's in. The Joker's always been kind of perennially.
He's the guy, right? He's He's
always been popular. He's always been the number one Batman villain. When Tim Burton made his big Batman movie, the Joker was the villain.
Sure.
Many would argue that the best Chris Nolan Batman movie is The Dark Knight, the one that featured Heath Ledger's Joker.
They'd be correct.
And the Joker, of course, has been played many times throughout TV and film history by many great actors, and he's always been I mean, I'm not wrong in saying this, right? Like, the Joker is Batman's like #1 rogues gallery guy.
100%.
Right?
There's
no
a reason.
else.
There's a reason the entire Arkham series is about him, right? And I'm talking about the
Right.
Arkham video games from our world.
Right. So to celebrate the 80th anniversary of the Joker, because he's such an important character in the DC universe, DC Comics is putting out, I believe, on June 9th is now the new publication date.
That's
Do I have
correct.
that right?
Yep.
A little piece of magic called the Joker 80th Anniversary 100-page Super Spectacular. And this is a special one-off book that DC Comics is releasing in early June on the 9th, bringing together some of the best talents in comics and apparently us, Greg. I don't know how this happened.
Oh, trust me. As someone who adores DC Comics, if you ever watch Greg's Comic Book Club on Patreon, you know how many times I brought up these Action Comics 1000, these anthologies they put together, right, celebrating a character, or even like when they do the holiday special, where they bring in a bunch of different writers and let them take a crack at it over a few pages.
They actually just did this not long ago with Wonder Woman, because Wonder Woman just had a big anniversary, and they did a Wonder Woman Super Spectacular.
Yeah, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman, they've all had them, yeah.
Now it's the Joker's turn. And Ben came to me and said, would you like to contribute an original story to the Super Spectacular? So the Super Spectacular is not one story. It's basically an anthology of several stories, and each one is put together by a different creative team. And they've got some really, really crackerjack artists and writers working on this. I'm looking at the names right now. Greg, these are big deal names, right? Scott Snyder.
Scott Snyder's a huge
Brian
name.
Azzarello. Like that's a big deal.
Tom Taylor's on there. And again, if you watched the Comic Club, you know that I talk about Tom Taylor all the time. And now
John
Gary and I are
Romita.
writing a story next to him.
These are big names in the world of comics. So DC really went out to its top names to pay tribute, really, to one of the greatest characters in all of comics history. Certainly one of the greatest villains. Everybody knows the Joker.
Of course.
And again, somebody must have let them down at the last minute, and they had to plug a hole or something, because they called me and said, would you be interested in writing an original Joker story for the Super Spectacular? And of course, they jumped at the chance, because I've always wanted to do something in the DC universe. I'm a big DC universe fan, but I'm not as big a fan as you, Greg. I know the DC universe, I know the characters, but I'm not like into it to like a frankly sad degree like you are.
Me,
and I felt like that's what I needed. I needed like the hardcore, super duper fan who really, really, really knows the lore, like at a DNA, like genetic level. And that's you, right? I mean, you would classify yourself as a DC Comics expert?
I would say I'm a DC Comics fanboy. I think expert always gets you in trouble, right? Because there's always somebody who knows more than you on everything and has seen everything. But as everybody knows, I do adore DC Comics, and I have since birth, literally. So yeah, like I would say I am a fanboy through and through, and I've talked about that a million times. Whether it's talking about Connell, as I just brought him through, whether it is talking about Babstar's Batgirl, you know what I mean? Like there's a million different things, and a million different things outside of just the comics and the way DC's influenced me.
Right. So this Super Spectacular is going to be a big deal. Some of the biggest names in comics, all writing original and drawing, of course, original Joker stories. And the cool thing is, because the Joker stories that we're doing in this book are not part of any continuing canon, we can really have fun with them. It's almost kind of like the Marvel What If universe.
Oh my God, yeah.
Kind of do crazy stuff with it. So I had an idea for a story that I wanted to do. But I felt like in order to get the best out of it, I wanted to collaborate with someone who just lives and breathes the DC universe, knows all the characters inside and out, knows everything that has ever transpired between Batman and the Joker over the years. And so I came to you on that fateful day back in January or what it was and said, would you like to? I said, Greg, call me the magic genie out of the bottle, the dream maker. I'm about to make your dreams come true. Would you like to collaborate on a real, actual Joker story for me that's going to be published for real in DC Comics, and in a big deal way as well, because it's the 80th anniversary Super Spectacular?
Yeah.
And you, of course, said, yeah, let me think about it.
No, I did not. Well, first off, when you came in and started talking about it, I thought for sure you were just doing the thing where you come in. You do this every so often. You come in, you sit down on the couch, you start telling me some highfalutin story about how great your life is and some dream you're getting to live. And so I was just waiting for you to be like, and this is what my story is. And then when you sat there and were like, do you want to do it with me? Do you want to co-write it with me?
Yeah,
I was so touched, and I can't tell you how thankful I am for that opportunity.
Well, it was a combination of two things. It was honestly mostly wanting, in order to write the best Joker story possible, I really did want to be able to tap into your galaxy brain of DC knowledge. But I also just thought it would be a great thing for you and for us, because I know how much you love the DC universe, and I just thought it would be a great thing to share this wonderful opportunity that DC had given me with you, because I just knew how much you would appreciate it and how much of your heart and soul you would put into the opportunities to actually create something of substance in the DC universe. Like we together, you and I have contributed like a real piece of the DC universe that's now going to be published, featuring the Joker and many other characters. I don't want to give it too much away, but many other characters from the DC universe. And I'm really, really pleased with what we came up with. Do you want to kind of talk about what we did?
Yeah. How much do you want to say? Like, we have art. Do you want to see the first page, everybody?
So, this is the first time DC Comics just tonight said, okay, guys, we're taking the wraps off tomorrow. What is now today, as you're watching this video, at 9 a.m. Pacific time, we're going to start opening the doors here and showing people some of the artwork and teasing some of the stories. But there's still a ways to go between now and June, and we want to kind of build anticipation for the comic, because I think the book itself is going to be spectacular. I think the story that we've done, if I may say so myself, is really special. And so we're going to show you just a little tiny bit of it now, but we don't want to show you too much because we don't want to give it all away.
Of course.
And it is important. Do you want to show the cover of the book? Are we looking at that right now?
I put that up. This is the cover. Okay. When we started talking about it, I threw the cover up here. And what's important to point out, ladies and gentlemen, of course, is that obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic. And so, you'll be able to get this on June 9th on Comixology. But of course, local comic book shops are the lifeblood of the comics industry. The last day to order more copies of this book is Monday, as of us recording this and publishing it on Friday. So what that means is that you need to call your local comic book store if you'd like an issue. Let them know you'd like one so they know to order it, especially coming out of this pandemic. June 9th, curbside delivery, there's all that stuff. And DC Comics has even started dccomics.com/comic shop tracker. We'll have it in the description of the Kind of Funny video here. You can go down there and click on it to find out what comic shops in your area will be open. But again, obviously I love digital comics, but I also, Gary, well, I remember when you did it with Oliver #1, like my hope beyond hope is that on June 9th, I'm able to go to the comic shop underneath Kind of Funny and buy this book and buy it off the shelf. You know what I mean? And grab it and hold it. That's a big part of it. Yeah,
and so obviously, right now it's really important that you support your local comic book store, and it's unfortunate that the way that the timing of this worked out was that there's not a ton of time to go out and order. I mean, there is actually plenty of time to go out and order it, but you should jump on the chance now if you're interested in getting a copy of this. But I think these are going to sell out.
Oh yeah, no, these stuff always does. They're going
to be collector's items, and I think they're actually doing variant covers as well. I think
they are doing
multiple
variant
versions
covers.
of this.
And again, if you've watched the Comic Book Club, you know that some of my favorite stories of recent memory come out of these things, right? The Jeff Loveless Superman stuff that I've always talked about.
Because you can really, it's like you don't have to worry about, well, if we do this or kill that character or make a big change in the universe, that's something we have to then live with for a long time. But with these short stories, you can do something really crazy and then just move on, back into the regular continuity. And that was what I really responded to, was the chance to do something really crazy with the DC universe.
And since they're out of continuity, you just go in there knowing what you know about DC or about Joker in this instance, and you know enough, right? You go in there knowing Joker, you know Batman, and how would that shape out that way?
Right.
And so saying that, our first page, Gary, looks like this.
So, let's show the first page from the comic. We're going to show 2 pages. And just to be deliberately obscure about this, we've pulled out all the lettering.
Right.
So in the final version of the strip, you're going to see lettering on this page.
Of course, yeah, there's stuff happening.
Right now, we're just showing you the original colored art, and we've pulled the lettering out so as not to give away too much of what's happening in the story. But the story that we did is called Kill the Batman. The first page here that you're seeing is, I think this is really cool. As a writer, one of the things you want to try to do is open your story in a way where you go immediately, what the hell is going on? I got to figure out what this is all about. And so the way that we open our story is, here's Lois Lane reporting live for dailyplanet.com from inside the Batcave. And so right away, you know that something in Batman's universe has changed, because that should not be happening. And so again, not wanting to give away any of the storytelling right away, you know that this is going to be a Joker story, a Batman story, unlike any other that you've seen.
And obviously, to call it out right away, of course, yeah, Gary and I wrote this story, but it is drawn by Dan Mora.
Beautifully drawn by Dan Mora.
And that's the thing. If you have been following DC Comics, you would know Dan, at least the way I knew Dan, from his Flash covers. He's been doing a lot of Flash covers for a long time. If you're beyond that, I have his whole thing pulled up. He did the interiors for a long time on Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Saban's Go-Go Power Rangers. He was at Boom Studio doing the WWE books. But then, yeah, DC's done Batgirl, The Flash, Adventures of the Super Sons for covers and stuff. So his art style for me was very striking, and I immediately recognized it from the Flash books.
He's an extremely, extremely talented young artist from Costa Rica, and the first time that I saw these his sketches, I was like, "This is the guy. This is unbelievable."
Right. And it's the thing of, like, the detail.
Fully, my God!
When you get this and you get to
fantastic.
dig into what he's done, it's really incredible what he's put in.
So good, and the coloring is. I don't have the name to hand right now, but at some point we need to shout out the colorist and the letterer,
100%.
who also did amazing work on this.
Well, the letterer kind of phoned it in. There's nothing on this page. Just kidding. Just kidding. Like we said, this is on purpose that way. It's on purpose.
So again, I really don't want to give away anything about the story, but I can't wait for you to see it. But again, the idea is that right away, you know that something about this story is going to be different because. The Batcave is obviously a super duper secret location.
Yeah.
If Lois Lane is broadcasting from inside of it, something has gone wrong or something has changed in Batman's universe. And so that was I thought was a great way to kind of kick off the story and say this is not going to be like any Batman, any Joker story you've seen before.
Yeah.
And here, for example, Greg, like this is where we started to collaborate. We immediately talked about like what are the things we would want to see inside the Batcave.
Oh yeah.
So we're seeing, of course, all these the T-Rex, the giant penny.
Yep. The Joker card.
The Joker card, and some of the various different bat suits and Batmobiles. And one of the things that I love about this, Greg, and I think you appreciate as well, is that even in the space of it's a short story. It's not like the whole book. It's one of many stories in the book. But in a relatively short space of time, we managed to sneak in so many Easter eggs and so many little tributes and references.
So many cameos.
The DC characters that we love over the years. Oh, I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say how many, but like. A lot of our favorite DC characters are in this.
Well, that was our thing when we did this and we set out to do it. This is our one shot, so let's try to get as many in as we can, right?
Yeah, they made DC once they publish this may never let us back inside the vault again.
Yeah,
and so we just jam packed it, and I think quite cleverly, if I do say so myself, we came up with a story that allowed us to have all these characters featured in a way that makes sense, and they don't just feel like they're just shoehorned in. Like all the characters are there for a reason.
Yeah.
But like I guarantee you, if you have a favorite character from the Batman universe, there's a good chance that character is in this story.
Yeah. You want to see another page?
Absolutely. Can't wait.
Bam. The Joker himself.
And here's the Joker. Again, the context of this scene is something that we're trying to keep secret for right now by pulling out the lettering. The Joker has a lot of dialogue on this page, but we've pulled out the lettering so that if you were to see this page with the lettering, you would understand fully what's going on in the context of the scene. But there's another character here, Greg. Speaking of our favorite DC characters, and this is actually one that you suggested because I think he's a favorite of yours.
Yeah.
You suggested be in the story, of course, the great Mr. Freeze.
Of course, Dr. Victor Freeze. I had to have him in there, especially because it was this idea. And I know, of course, on Monday I'm coming on Animal Talking, so I will get more into it there. And
we're going to do a deeper dive on Monday when we.
And I do think that once the book's out, right? I think on the 9th we need to put out a companion video that is a spoiler cast, really getting into it, because it was you coming to me with this idea of where what you thought the nut of the story was, and then us going to. We had like a 3-hour long breakfast where we sat there and hashed out ideas and did this and put in lines and said that, and this was an important moment to me, right? And I think especially when you see it in context of where we are, of what this day would look like. And what I loved about the idea you brought that we then made into this story is that it isn't what you traditionally would think. And what I love about being vague about it now is even when you look at these panels and I think you know what's going to happen, you think you know where it's going to go, it doesn't, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, it's got, in a relatively short number of page turns, the story takes some really interesting twists and turns. And the final twist, I think, is wonderful. I'm just so happy with that. It's a lot of everyone who saw it said, oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah.
So again, and it was something that we could only do outside of
Continuity.
The ongoing continuity, because because it goes to a place that is completely nuts.
Yeah.
And that is was just so much fun. It really was one of the I never had so much fun ever than writing dialogue for the Joker. And it was a great thrill to do it. Probably, I would say it both the least I've been paid to write anything in the last year, but also the most fun I've had.
Yeah.
And I really, really enjoyed doing it. And I know you did as well. Just the two of us just sitting around, at the cafe that we go to here in San Francisco, and just kind of noodling on ideas and thinking about like what are the great moments in the Batman and Joker canon that we could reference, not just in comics, but in cinema. And we've got all these cute little Easter eggs and references that hardcore fans like you, Greg, I think will appreciate.
Yeah, and I think that's why we did it, right? And that's why you brought me in, and that's why it was such a cool thing to collaborate with you on. I mean, obviously to live the dream, Kind of Funny fans know, what 2 years ago my resolution was to write a comic book, and I started, but then real life got in the way and sidetracked me in terms of making Kind of Funny content and moving on that way. And also the idea that, so many people reached out to me about doing comic stuff, but it wasn't for the people or the characters I knew. And so that was a stoppage for me, right? Like I wasn't interested in inventing my own world. I wanted to go and play in the toy boxes I already knew. And so for you to bring me this opportunity, right, to be able to do this with you, to become the dynamic duo here of DC Comics, right? Now give us Superman. Now give us Superboy. Give us those books to get in there. And
I know. I don't want to count our chickens, but I know that DC were absolutely thrilled with this story. They loved it. And, who knows what the future may hold. But for right now, I think this is a great, if this is just a first foot in the door of the DC universe for us, then that would be wonderful. It's just a little toe in the water with a short story. But it's really, really cool. We got to do something unlike anything you could do in the regular Batman comics. Packed it with our favorite characters. It's a little bit frustrating that for a long time we were frustrated because we couldn't say we were doing it at all. Sure. And now we can reveal that what we're doing, we can't talk about it in any depth because the story takes such a weird turn and has so many surprises in it that we can't talk about it in any detail at all without giving it away. Like the whole thing is one big surprise. And so what I'm excited about, and we should do this, Greg. Like once the book is out, we should do like a real deep dive. We get and really be able to talk about it in detail and in depth.
I think I'm telling you, man. Let's do a special one shot spectacular of Greg's Comic Book Club one more time. Let's do it for the Tuesday the 9th. It'll be a companion piece with the comic that day, and also encourage you to go to the comic book shop that day.
Perfect. I love it.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're talking about. I'll throw the cover back up for you, of course, so you know what you're looking for when you go in
there.
The
Joker 80th anniversary 100-page super spectacular. It's a $9.99 cover price, a penny a page. Greg, is there a better value in comics right now?
There isn't, sir, especially with us. Me making my DC comic book debut.
Wait, that's not right. Is it a penny a page? No, I'm doing my math wrong. 100 pages, 10 cents a page.
Still a great deal. See, this is how you get in trouble where that guy, remember that newscaster?
But they're good pages, was like, Greg. They're good pages.
They're great pages. Don't worry about it. Yes.
My arithmetic's always been terrible.
It's also
Brian Azzarello,
it's 10 o'clock Scott Snyder, after a nonstop day. Greg Miller, Gary Whitta. There you go. What else do you need? You know what I
mean? The greatest, most iconic comic villain of all time.
Yeah.
Packed with DC characters, packed with surprises. I'm so excited about it. I really can't wait for people to get their hands on it. And I can't wait to see their reaction when they read it, because I think we're going to shock a lot of people, but in a good way.
Me too. So June 9th, go get this Joker book. Call your comic book shops now. Make sure they'll be open. Make sure you can get it from them. If not, of course, Comixology, dccomics.com/comic shop tracker to find out what's going on in yours. Gary, again, I know we'll talk about this 2 more times at least on Animal Talking, and then on our own little comics cast we'll do later on the 9th. But again, thank you so much for this opportunity. This is legitimately a dream come true.
No, I was really glad to be able to bring it to you. I'm thrilled that we got to work on it. I hope we get to do more like this in the future, and I really hope people enjoy the comic. We had a blast making it.
Agreed. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, it's been our pleasure to serve you.